In this video, we are going to talk about the top 10 cheap cars under $1,000. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for future updates. A nice car does not have to be an expensive purchase. As evidence, here are some of the best used rides $1,000 can buy. When we think of buying an automobile, we normally envision a budget of $20,000 to $100,000. If it's a used car, we reduce the price to around $5,000 to $50,000 if the buyer really wants it. However, we rarely consider purchasing a car for less than $1,000. Consider purchasing a dank ride for the same price as a new iPhone 13 Pro. Given the low price, the ride may not be particularly pleasant, but with a little care, you may get a terrific deal on a fun little daily driver without breaking the bank. College students and persons working minimal wage jobs understand the price range of $3,000 to $5,000 is ideal for purchasing a decent second-hand vehicle. What if, for $1,000, we can discover some very fantastic, underappreciated automobiles or even pickup trucks? There are plenty of non-drivable, rusted-out autos from the previous century that can be used as project cars in our price range, but just a few vehicles that can be had for that price and drive completely well. We attempted to be as general as possible, and this is what we found. North America is a huge place, and depending on where you live, you can discover an amazing sleeper or an overlooked car for cheap in your neighborhood, but we tried to stay as universal as possible, and this is what we found. Number 10. 1998 to 2008 Ford Taurus. Ford made a ton of these, and a lot of them are still running today. You've probably figured out by now that a vehicle's abundance and spare parts play a large influence in its affordable price, and the Taurus is no different. The Taurus isn't particularly impressive, but it's a respectable full-size car. Try to stay away from the 2003 Taurus and any model older than 1998, although even they are a terrific deal at this pricing. The models to look for are 2001, 2005, 2007, and 2008 models. Number 9. 1992 to 2005 Toyota Camry. This list had to include the most popular automobile. Camrys have been around for a long time, and they appear to last indefinitely. Camry models from the early 2000s wowed the public, proving their quality and dependability, and propelling the Camry to the top of the sales charts. They provide sufficient power, comfort, and ease of ownership. It's not impossible to find these for around $1,000. Just avoid the 2007 model, which is unanimously considered as the worst, or at least the least decent, of them all. Number 8. 7th or 8th Gen Honda Civic. The Honda Civic, like the Camry, is a popular choice in both new and used car markets. These vehicles are dependable, adaptable, inexpensive to own, and fun to drive. However, in some places, Civic components or the cars themselves are frequently stolen, so you should double-check before posting on Craigslist. Regardless, once you've found a Civic for under $1,000, you can rest assured that maintaining it won't take much effort or money. There's a Civic for everyone, but given our budget, we'll go with the 7th or 8th generation Civics. Number 7. 2004 to 2009 Mazda 6 is a vehicle manufactured by Mazda. Another list of cheap, good automobiles. Another Japanese car from the 2000s. You're probably thinking, what else can we say except that they're fantastic? A $1,000 Mazda 6i Sport is easy to come by. It was more enjoyable to drive than most other family cars. The manual transmission is fluid, the power distribution is smooth and accurate, and the car itself is attractive. Because Mazda is a well-known and respected brand, most dependability issues are addressed, and ownership costs are kept to a minimal. If you can find one, it'll be a simple decision. Number 6. 1998 to 2012 Ford Crown Vic. In the automobile industry, the Crown Victoria is the embodiment of longevity. The Crown Vic, which leaves many Japanese automobiles in the dust, can live as long as 500,000 miles, if properly maintained. There's a reason why the government has been using it for so long. It was introduced in 1992 and sold until 2012, but we believe that any model after 1998, such as this 2005 LX Sport with just over 100,000 miles on the odometer, will serve you well. The only disadvantage is that folks in the area may believe you are an undercover cop. On the other hand, you may easily modify these things with Mustang parts, which are readily available. Number 5. 2001 to 2002 Dodge/Plymouth Neon. The Neon's name may fool you, but it's a lot of fun to drive, especially if you get one with a manual transmission. Even with front-wheel drive, the chassis of this little car makes it nimble and entertaining. It also makes for a wonderful cheap project car because there's plenty of room for upgrades and customizations. Its resale value is so low that you can find 2001 and 2002 Neons without severe damage or accidents in their history records for under $1,000, regardless of whether they are Dodge or Plymouth badged. Number 4. Nissan Altima, 1997 to 2008. The percentage of cars sold nowadays with a manual transmission is less than 5%. However, for those of us who still like a manual transmission, the Nissan Altima is one of the few family sedans with a 6-speed manual transmission. You might even come across one with a functional sunroof. Nissan understands how to build a durable car, and while the Altima is a bit boring in comparison to the rest of the Nissan lineup, it's almost as good as it gets for $1,000. For example, the 2007 Nissan Altima boasts an excellent and powerful V6 engine, a good CVT, a pleasant interior, and a spacious cabin. What more could you want? Number 3. 1994 to 2003 Ford Ranger. Who says sedans and hatchbacks are the only vehicles available for under $1,000? The Ranger could be the truck for you if you want a good pickup truck at a low price. They're dependable workhorses designed to last a lifetime. The 1994 to 2003 Rangers will be more readily available. They include large V6 or V8 engines that provide plenty of power, look great on the exterior, and perform well on the inside. Although, for our price, you could be better off with a decent but less powerful 6-cylinder 2WD model than an AWD V8. Number 2. 1999 to 2004 Chrysler Concorde. The Chrysler Concorde is a large vehicle with plenty of interior space. The Concorde will suffice if your requirement for a vehicle that is more functional outweighs its potential to make you grin while driving twisting roads. Big truck space, roomy cabin, remarkable handling for such a large vehicle, and low maintenance costs. There won't be any perfect elements on these Chryslers because they're over a decade old, but they do appear to last longer than we think. Number 1. 1997 Prizm Geo. You may recall the Chevrolet Prizm, which sells for over $1,000. But, just like in the movies, there's a twin that few people are aware of. The Geo Prizm is a dull-looking car. But it's here because of a joint venture between General Motors and Toyota. On the outside, we see Geo logo, but on the inside, it's all Toyota Sprinter. We all know that late 90s Toyotas are nearly bulletproof in terms of reliability, which is why they keep their value and aren't as inexpensive as this one. Sure, the Geo blends in like a chameleon on the road, and it's not very attractive, but it's one of the most dependable cars under $1,000, with high fuel economy, cheap maintenance costs, and hassle-free ownership. Where can you find cheap cars for sale for under $1,000? Now that you have an idea of which ultra-cheap cars are likely to be the most reliable, you might be ready to start looking for a clunker of your own. But where do you start? Online classified ads, such as those posted on Craigslist, are usually the best place to begin your search. Classified ads often have a lot of listings from private parties, which are more likely to have cheap cars than your local dealership will. Dealerships that are backed by a vehicle manufacturer, i.e. Ford, Toyota, etc., rarely keep super cheap cars in stock. Instead, to protect their reputation, most dealers send older cars that are at risk of breaking down off to auction. Though sometimes, dealers sell junkers as backlot specials that come with a liability waiver. Should you buy a cheap car for under $1,000? Purchasing a cheap car and avoiding a monthly payment can give you a sense of accomplishment. You might feel like you found a loophole and beat the system. But wait, not so fast. A cheap car can quickly bury you in debt with repairs. Unless you're a DIYer who's handy with a wrench, you might be better off spending a little extra money to get yourself something more reliable. Also, keep in mind, any cheap car you buy could fail catastrophically without warning. You need to be ready, both emotionally and financially, to go find another cheap ride at any moment. Have you ever purchased a car under $1,000? Let us know in the comment box below. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Thank you.